You are spiritually asleep. You might not even realize it, but if you're honest with yourself, the signs are there. The first sign is that you've lost your passion for God. Remember when you were on fire for Him, when every moment felt filled with His presence. But now, you go through the motions. Church feels like a ritual, and prayer feels more like a habit than an intimate conversation. The fire that once burned within you has dimmed, and you don't even know how or when it happened. Revelation 3 verses 15 to 16 warns of being lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, and how such indifference makes God want to spit us out. This spiritual numbness is one of the most shocking signs of being asleep. You become comfortable in your routine, but that's exactly what the enemy wants. He'd rather have you distracted, distant, and disengaged and on fire for God. The second sign that you're spiritually asleep is a lack of discernment. Your sensitivity to sin and the voice of God is dulling. You're more easily tempted, and things that once convicted you now barely faze you. The Bible calls us to be awake and watchful, but you become numb to the subtle schemes of the enemy. Romans 13 verse 11 says, "The hour has come for you to wake up from your slumber." But instead of discerning God's will, you've started listening to your own desires or the world's voice, mistaking them for truth. The constant noise of the world is drowning out His still, small voice, and you've stopped even noticing it. In your slumber, the warning signs of sin are ignored, and you justify things you would have once resisted. This is dangerous ground. Finally, the third sign is your growing apathy toward God's kingdom and His people. You become inwardly focused, caring more about your own needs than the needs of others. You've stopped reaching out, stopped serving, stopped loving with the same intensity you once did. In Matthew 25, Jesus made it clear that loving others, especially the least of these, is at the heart of following Him. But when you're asleep, it's all about your own comfort, your own goals, and your own plans. The world's pressure and self-centeredness have distracted you from God's calling to love and serve those around you. You become spiritually lethargic, just existing, not truly living out the faith you profess. This hidden sleep is keeping you from the abundant life Jesus promises in John 10 verse 10. When you're spiritually awake, you see the needs around you, you hear God's voice clearly, and you are moved to action. But in your sleep, it's easy to ignore these divine callings. You might be shocked to realize how much of your spiritual walk has been reduced to complacency. The truth is, God never intended for us to merely survive our Christian lives. He designed us to thrive, to grow, to be a light to the world. But when you're asleep, you miss it. You miss the opportunities, the joy, and the victories. You miss the calling He's placed on your life. It's time to wake up, to shake off the spiritual slumber, and to return to the fire of your first love. Ask yourself, are you willing to fight against the comfort of sleep and step into the fullness of what God has for you? You're not too far gone, but you must act now. The stakes are too high to stay asleep any longer. Your destiny is calling, but it's waiting for you to wake up and answer. Will you?